Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. And yeah, I'm already kind of giggling at the beginning of this video, not from happiness, but from being flabbergasted, to be honest with you. I'm going to give my thoughts on the Sky Striker first episode that has been uploaded on YouTube about 12 hours ago. The first episode, of course, pertaining to the Ray and Rose storyline. We know we are getting 2 episodes, so we will be getting another one in May, and then we are going to switch over to the branded storyline. And I want to start with the good. And the good is what I think we all knew was going to be good, and that is the animation quality. The quality of animation that this episode has, and that probably this entire series will have, is incredible. I would argue some of probably the best animation that any sort of Yu-Gi-Oh anime has gotten. Konami Animation has come out and they have said multiple times they are putting an emphasis on high quality animation, and huge shout out to all of the animators that were involved in this, because man, they did a wonderful job. Some of the scenes, some of the action shots were incredibly well detailed and really, really well done. And so full credit to the animation there. I want to start with a positive, and I'll give another positive, although this one might have a little bit of an asterisk, and that is the accessibility feature. Now, the accessibility is something that I've been very critical with Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, with Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, heck, even with the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX remaster going on. And what I mean by that is Konami not allowing really anybody outside of Japan to easily watch these anime. But the Sky Striker episode here is fully subbed on YouTube, which is great. I think that's a great start. That being said, I have heard from multiple different people who can speak English and Japanese that these subs are not great and may have just been put through Google Translate. So, you know, a little bit of an asterisk there, but I don't want to totally diminish the fact that they are at least trying to be a little bit more accessible and to have that accessibility feature that has really been lacking in a lot of their recent productions. Really, everything like since Vrains has been a nightmare when it comes to accessibility. So I don't want to fully knock them for that, and I will give them a lot of credit there for at least having subs. Now, that said, there's really not much voice acting. There's probably like 10 total lines, and you know, I guess we'll go into a little bit of the negatives now and the things that I'm a little disappointed in. I mean, the big concern that I had, the big concern that I think everybody had when this was announced in December, was how long are these episodes each going to be? They're only once a month. And I think what also puts a stronger emphasis on them is the fact that there is no weekly running anime anymore. There is no TCG anime. Heck, even if it became seasonal, that anime that we've been used to as fans for 25 years now, this is the 25th anniversary, is gone. It is no longer here. We do not know the future of it. And so I think a lot of people were kind of looking at this to be that temporary replacement, even if not meant to be Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, which I never thought it was going to be Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, because I always felt like these products could run simultaneously. This is the only thing we have. Like, the GX remaster is not meant for people outside of Japan, and honestly, I've already spent a lot of time last week ripping that remaster. I don't think it's very good at all. So this is the only Yu-Gi-Oh! Animated product that we are getting as fans outside of Japan for the foreseeable future. And it's only once a month. And we were wondering, the big question, how long is each episode going to be? And we finally got our answer. And the YouTube video, of course, is 3 minutes and 59 seconds, 4 minutes. And to honestly call it a 4-minute episode is giving it a lot of credit, because there's a 7-second intro and there's a 22-second outro. So it's really like a 3.5-minute episode. That is how short this episode is. Now, the key word there is short. And this was always advertised as a short promotional series. And a lot of people have been debating, well, what does that mean? Does that mean it's not going to last very long in terms of like maybe lasting a year? Does it mean the episode is going to be short? How short are we talking? Are we talking 6 to 8 minutes or 3 to 4 minutes? Because that's a big difference. I was always hoping it was going to be like 10 minutes. There were people who thought it was going to be like a full-length episode of like 20 minutes. We get nothing near that. It is a 3.5-minute episode And I think something that is even crazier to me is that you basically need to be familiar with the Sky Striker lore in Master Duel in order to fully grasp what is happening here. There is a legitimate barrier of entry into this episode if you want to understand everything that's going on. In fact, one of the people who worked on this animation short literally tweeted out about 8 hours ago that you need to watch Master Duel in order to fully understand what's happening. And I just hate when there's this barrier of entry. I feel like Marvel does this a lot now, where like in order to understand everything that's happening in a movie in the MCU, you have to like watch one of the TV shows. I just don't know who this is really for. Like, I thought this was going to be a really, really good way to get maybe non-Yu-Gi-Oh fans invested. It's only once a month. I thought it definitely could have been longer. But if you now need to play the Master Duel story mode, or at least watch the cutscenes we got in the Master Duel story mode in order to understand the official first episode, like, I think that is really, really poor execution and rollout of this product. I am not a fan of that at all. So that is something that I'm really not happy with. I look at Pokemon Generations because it's very similar in terms of length, right? You look at those Pokemon Generation episodes, each one of them was about 4 to 5 minutes, and that's very similar to, although it's a little longer, but it's similar to what we're probably going to get here. But Pokemon Generations was 18 episodes, if I recall, and they released on a weekly basis. Not a monthly basis, a weekly basis. So if you are doing something that is going to be this short in terms of episode length, and it's going to be monthly, that is just like two big X's for me. And I am, I'm going to watch, obviously, but like, I am really disappointed in terms of how long these episodes are, in terms of the fact that there is like a barrier to fully watch and understand, and that you need to like have seen the Master Duel stuff in order to fully grasp it. And man, it's just been a rough 5 months for anybody who is like a diehard Yu-Gi-Oh anime fan. I mean, it just has been. Like, to get the anime ripped away from us unceremoniously, to get the GX remaster Japan region locked, which is a bad remaster in my opinion, and then to get this, which is only 3.5 minutes of an episode, and we're only getting that once a month. And I felt like in the first episode, I barely talked about the first episode, I felt like the story wasn't bad. It felt it was a weird starting point, but it was a lot of action. It wasn't a lot of like narrative build up and stuff. And listen, we knew that the animation was going to be amazing. I think the question that a lot of us had was, will the narrative, will the story be able to back up and stay the pace with the narration, with the animation, excuse me. And so far, it's very early on. I don't feel like it has. Now, we still have a second episode of Sky Striker, and then Sky Striker's over, and then we will have Brandon, and maybe these episodes will get longer in length. I don't think there's anything to indicate that they will. Like, I am not going to believe that the second episode automatically is going to be, like, double the length of this one. If that changes, great, but right now, I'm feeling certainly a little underwhelmed with how the episode was and the episode length, which were some of my biggest concerns with this production. But the animation is great. The view count early on looks to be really, really good. 12 hours, 250,000 views. As I've been saying, there is clearly still a massive audience for lore content, for anime content when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! And also, like, I don't know how much of the lore we're going to even learn without playing the Master Duel solo mode. So, we'll see what the second episode brings, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little negative on it. I started with the positives. I do think the animation is great. The music was great. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below on the Chronicles first episode here. And it's right on YouTube. If you just type in Sky Striker Chronicles, I'm sure it'll come up right away. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear them. As always, thank you all so much for the support. I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.